We're going to talk about subconscious impressions, and we're going to watch this video. It's Elmer O. Locker Jr. He talks about subconscious impressions here, and I'm going to compare what he's saying to the law of one tarot. Not compare it, but I'm going to relate to where the archetypes fall of what he says.
And as you do this, you develop this habit of doing it. And then you have a new...
Okay.
This video is for you. This is something, a feeling that I have from a prayer that I received. And now I'm praying about it and I'm visualizing about this. So I'm coming to you about subconscious impressions and about things you may be going through in your life. And I'm going to explain all of that in this video. Objective states bear witness to subconscious impressions. So in other words, when you make an impression, you change your state of consciousness. Your conscious state has to change with the person that you fell asleep with being. So when you prepare for sleep at night, or you're doing your visualizations, before you go to sleep at night, and you're creating this event that hasn't taken place yet, but you're feeling as though it already has, and you become that version of you that has already done this, the subconscious mind creates and dictates your new conscious state that you are becoming. And as you do...
Okay, so this is so much fun. Let's compare this to the law of one tarot. So what he's basically saying here is that the catalyst, which is space, it's 3D, okay? And the experience, which is time, is 4D, yeah? So what you're doing is you're collapsing time and space when you do your visualizations before bedtime, and your visualizations, now you're consciously creating expressions on the potentiator, on the subconscious mind. Let's just say that this here, the potentiator of the mind, potentiator of the body, which is the hermit, and potentiator of the spirit complex, which is the tower. So you, within the archetypes of your subconscious mind, hold the mind is the high priestess, the body is the hermit, and the spirit complex is the tower card. Let's say that this potentiator here, the subconscious mind, is all the water in your body, all right? 2D. All the water in your body, what it's encouraging is growth and movement. That's what it is encouraging. The catalyst, which is 3D, let's just say that the catalyst is the unconscious mind. So let's pretend that the unconscious mind is all the organs in your body. The main organs within the endocrine system are the ones that create most of your emotions, and they are running on patterns. The patterns that they run on, let's just say, are created within the matrix. You can visualize the matrix as the one that holds the pattern together. The pattern is actually within the matrix. It's holding it all together. It's your root chakra. It is beingness, awareness. So these patterns that are created most of our lives, most people, when they're only coming from the 3D, the catalyst, so they're always reacting, it's cause and effect, right? They're not self-aware. They haven't made the choice to be self-aware or even to observe yet. So what they're constantly doing is they are reacting to the emotions, their hormones basically, because these hormones are used to a certain pattern, and this pattern that's held by the matrix is impressed by not only past lives, but your childhood 0 to 7 as well, by beliefs that you have within the water of your system, within the subconscious mind. So if you're constantly in this loophole of reacting, your pattern is going to, let me give you an example. Visualize a spider web, a beautiful spider web. What happens when a fly gets caught in the spider web? Now the fly is having this experience of being caught in the spider's web. let's say that is the matrix, and the fly got caught in the spider web, the geometry which was created here, expressed within the organs here, and you keep experiencing it because now you've created, when there was this perfect spider web of beingness, awareness, then this fly gets caught into it. Now it's all tangled and it's starting to create a geometry of its own. This geometry can be called fear. This geometry can be called shame. This geometry can be called guilt. It can be whatever. This potentiator of the three, the mind, the body, the spirit complex, has within the cellular memory of the water, the cells, the impressions in your body. So what he's saying is, in order for the spider to go up to this fly, roll it up in its own web, spin it around again, take it, put it away, and either keep it for food or eat it right away, that will take awareness. That's going to take consciousness. The spider's going to have to be aware, oh, a fly just got caught in there. The spider will have to become the observer. When you become the observer, you now are aware of time. 4D is time. 3D is space. The Empress is space of the mind. I believe this is the wheel of organs, which are your chakras are actually within the organs. The frequency that comes out of your chakras is the frequency of your organ. So the organ within the red ray, the root chakra, are your gonads. It's insecurity. If you're super insecure, the frequency is going to be very low of the red ray. The reflection of the red ray out to the rainbow, to the multiverse, then is going to be very slow. This experience is going to come back with it in time to you with other people who have the same low vibration insecurities as you might. They will mirror them. What he is saying is, when you start falling asleep with a visualization, you are now consciously manipulating time to do what you want it to do. So this is why it is so important to put feelings, catalyst of having it in the mind, the Empress, the ego, your ultimate ego, until it's not. Your organs, the chakras of your endocrine system, and you must have faith. The spirit complex in 3D is the faith card. One must have faith in order to bring these visualizations and the impressions that are within the bring these visualizations, impress them with your own emotion now, and increase the frequency within the organ so that it can be reflected back through experienced time back to you. And sometimes we can have these visualizations, but our frequency within the organs, our hormones, are still holding on to the lower vibration emotions. So here is what he's saying next about that.
Do this, you develop this habit of doing it. And then you have a new set of habits in the three-dimensional world that will carry you through the bridge of incidents to your goal or your
I'm going to rewind it for you because I feel like I talked a lot. I didn't want to interrupt so much, but let's just listen to him from the beginning.
About it, and I'm visualizing about this. So I'm coming to you about subconscious impressions and about things you may be going through in your life. And I'm going to explain all of that in this video. Objective states bear witness to subconscious impressions. So in other words, when you make an impression, you change your state of consciousness. Your conscious state has to change with the person that you fell asleep with being. So when you prepare for sleep at night, or you're doing your visualizations, before you go to sleep at night, and you're creating this event that hasn't taken place yet, but you're feeling as though it already has, and you become that version of you that has already done this, the subconscious mind creates and dictates your new conscious state that you are becoming. And as you do this, you develop this habit of doing it. And then you have a new set of habits in the three-dimensional world that will carry you through the bridge of incidents to your goal or your subconscious impression that you've made to your wish fulfilled. So that's how it works. Objective states bear witness to subconscious impressions. And what I've found about this through experience is when I create a visual scene as I'm going to sleep at night, as if I already have something or I'm becoming that person, everything's worked out perfectly for me already. It's already worked out perfectly. And then I get into this feeling and then I go into the drift, then I fall asleep. What will happen is I'll wake up the next day and sometimes I'll carry out and I won't feel much different. But what I'll notice is I won't be content in my current state that I'm living, like, or my certain conditions and experiences, the things that I would have experienced the day before and been okay with. Now I'm not okay with those things. And I just have this need to want to grow, and I'm not content staying where I am. I have this overwhelming feeling of growth, and I get new ideas from this state. And different doors start to open in this state, and I'll start growing, start creating more things that are leading me to that new version of myself that I've fallen asleep with being. And like we've gone over before, when you make the impression, when you fall asleep with that new version of yourself, sometimes other things can happen in your world that'll seem like they are negative, or they're throwing you off your path, like they're contradicting your manifestation. These things are happening because of the impression that you made, because conscious states bear witness to subconscious impressions. So what that means is these negative things that seem to be happening to you are raising your conscious state because of the impression that you made. The subconscious mind now has created or shifted your world to where it's collided with another world, where it knows what you have to go through in order to become that version of you that can sustain this wish fulfilled, being this person that it felt you being when you went to sleep at night. And because a lot of times when people visualize or they feel themselves to be a certain person where everything's working out perfectly for them, sometimes that creates things to happen into your world where you have to acquire more discipline, more consistency, and develop yourself to certain degrees. And that's why these other things are happening to you, to get you to that your wish fulfilled. A lot of times it's not going to be an easy road, but sometimes.
So this is what is happening. So basically, let's just use a money example, because that's the easiest way to do it. And I think he might give you an example too. I don't know. I only listened to it once and I really liked it, and I thought I'm going to do a vlog on this. So let's say you go to bed wanting $5 million. Okay, let's just say $5 million. But you go to bed wanting $5 million. Okay, so now what you're doing is you're visualizing what $5 million can do for you. Okay, so now you're feeling the feels, and you're like looking, you're in your visualization, you're experiencing it, because time is really nothing. Once you get to the significator, there's no time and space. So you're experiencing it. So it's being imprinted here in your subconscious mind now. But what if you really don't believe it? You're kind of in the feels, but your organs are like, nah. I don't think so. We haven't done no detox. I have a lot of fear in me. We haven't really, dealt with my insecurity, the gonads might say. Then what? Then what happens? This is exactly what he's saying. This is where, when you are now not the same person you were before you fell asleep, because now you've put an impression on your subconscious mind, that little bit of uneasiness that you might experience throughout the days is basically your organs coming to terms with the new emotions that you're imprinting them with in the 3D. Organs 3D. I don't know if they are. I don't know. I'm just saying. This is what I think. They are being impressed now through the subconscious mind, your cellular fluids, all your lymphatic system, all of that, with these new emotions. So there's a little bit of chaos, and I'm starting to feel like this is what the spirit complex of the potentiator right here, the Tower card, where people just start freaking jumping off. They start jumping off because they're in these patterns that the matrix is holding, the magician, is this justice? No, this is balance. Yeah, the justice card for the body, and then the devil for the spirit complex. I feel like people start jumping off because guess what? It's harder to change these patterns. How hard is it to wake up at 4 in the morning if you got to be at the gym for 5:45? If you want to lose 30 pounds, how hard is it to get up at 4 and put that effort in? It's easier to sleep in, right? This tower might be that inability because of the mind right here, the ego right here, to follow through and break these patterns. Might be.
Times it can be an easy road, and there are magical ways to manifest things by feeling that you already have them. You can make magical things happen in the process, especially if you're trying to change certain things that seem unchangeable. You know, like Neville Goddard went over this. I've created so many different testimonials and different experiences about these types of manifestations. But what I'm talking about is if you're leading towards your success, you're changing your concept of yourself, getting you to the next level where you're providing service and value, creating businesses, you're doing all these different things, or you're seeing yourself in a mansion or something, you know, to where you're running successful businesses within this mansion. You have, you know, good relationships and all these things are happening. Those types of things you're gonna need more discipline potentially for, and more consistency. So then the subconscious mind then dictates your reality, starts changing certain things, brings things to you that may seem negative or they're contradicting your manifestation, but those things are there to get you to that level. They're taking you to that new level. So look at them in that degree, that they're not actually negative, that they're actually getting you to your wish fulfilled. These are leading you towards that. These are things that, and you'll experience this too. When you do have negative things, and if you're very observant and aware of these things that have happened to you in the past that are similar to this, you'll realize after you have accomplished them and you've gotten to that next level because of them, you will be very grateful for them. Like, you're a better person now, a stronger person, a more resilient person, more disciplined person. You become a better version of you after you have completed or after you've overcome these obstacles. And you look back and you're very grateful because the person that you were and the person that you are now, you're a better person now, all the way around. So you have to have gratitude for those things too. And you start experiencing that to happen. And when they start happening again, you realize that, okay, so this is getting me to a wish fulfilled. That means that I have impressed the subconscious mind. Usually that's what happens.
Yeah, that's what happens. So let's relate that to the Law of One Tarot. So if you, our heart chakra is the middle point, right? It's the neutral point, the point that we need to get the X to, neutrality. Once you get to neutrality, the yin and yang kind of go away. The left brain, the right brain start working together. But let me show you here what he's talking about. Well, I think what he's talking about. So this experience, if you flip these two cards, like you have this piece of paper and you flip in the middle and you make that middle flip where the experience is right here, what you'll notice is that the significator, all these cards of the significator flip on top to the catalyst. And the significator is where the choice card, where everybody calls the fool. It's not the fool, it's the choice card. You can make a choice to change these patterns of your unconscious mind once you get to the significator and become more self-aware. That's the whole purpose of this 3D world, is to go from unconscious, your organs running the show, to conscious, connecting with the higher mind. So this connection with the higher mind, when we flip it, the significator flips on top of the catalyst. All of these cards here will flip on top. Then you have transformation that flips on top of potentiator. So in order for this transformation to occur, this is the transformation of the mind. The high priestess in this card is sitting in between the yin yang. There's an obvious polarity here. When you go to transformation on this side, this see how he's got the V here? I believe that this is the third eye. The third eye is opening. The third eye isn't completely controlled by the left and the right, by the yin and the yang. You've come to a place of neutrality. Therefore, now you can see the death card? The death card's going to go on top of the hermit. The hermit can finally get rid of all of this heaviness that this guy has, all these attachments that he might have. He starts taking it all away. And he finally comes to starts changing. This is the great way now that I'm talking about, but this is the alchemist. And he starts changing the emotions within the organs through the water, because the water is now a higher frequency. Through the alchemy of all of these organs in the body, the emotions are now changing to a higher frequency, higher vibration. But you got to go through these: the matrix, the potentiator, the devil, and the tower, man. That's tough. You got to go through it, and you have to have faith. The contemplation of what you want, what you desire, what your dreams are, what you will happen through contemplation. In this area of contemplation, in the experience that's being created for you in 3D, when you're still in your lower mind, lower chakras, the contemplation is what's bringing you, this moon card here is what's bringing you those experiences that might seem like garbage experiences. You don't want this. You went to bed feeling good. But these experiences are coming to you because there's still some resonance of old emotions and experiences within your body, the water and the organs. So if you have faith that this contemplation, all these people in front of you that are creating possibly a negative experience or whatever happens, who knows, but you have faith that no, everything's coming to alignment. I know what I want. I know I consciously am creating. I put action to it every day. You've got the Sun card. You've got rebirth here. This is expansion. This Judgment card, all it is expansion in consciousness. As you expand your consciousness, you can't collapse it again. You keep going, because expansion of consciousness feels good. You're in this World card when you do that.
Because when you make a solid impression, sometimes you can verify the validity of your impression by new things and weird things starting to happen in your world that are kind of throwing you off. You know, it depends, and there's a lot of variables with that, but usually that's a good sign that's showing you there's things coming to you that you have to maneuver around and learn how to overcome these types of obstacles in order to get to that higher level, the higher level that you felt yourself being. Because it's just not your job to figure these things out. The subconscious mind, you make the impression with the subconscious mind, and then the subconscious mind dictates the events that need to happen in order for you to get there. But it's up to you to follow those. What are you going to do? How are you going to react to those things? Are you going to shut down when they happen? Or are you going to overcome them, become stronger,
Are you going to fall off the tower when they happen? When this bolt of lightning, and this bolt of lightning, the tower card, the subconscious of the spirit complex and the potentiator, the bolt of lightning, light holds information. Are you going to freak out and fall off the tower? Or are you going to have faith and you're going to receive the light?
become more disciplined, become a better person in the process of overcoming these obstacles. And this, when you make a big impression, these are the things that typically happen. They're things that have to raise you up. Like, for example, when I was counting, like one of the first things that I did with manifestation and visualization is counting $100 bills as I'm going to sleep at night. And as I'm counting the bills, creating this, I had some issues with it, but I kept doing it. Then I finally fell asleep with it while I was counting it, but I didn't have the ownership of it. And then the money was someone else's money that I had to count. But then I went back again and started counting it again in my own residence, and I felt the ownership of it. And then I was already running a business at that time, but then I had a job that came to me through my business, that I was already able to receive that. So the person that I was already was acceptable to receive that $10,000. But at that time, if I were to create a scene where I'm worth $300 million, my current concept of self when I was creating that, the business that I had wouldn't be able to receive that amount of money. So it wouldn't be able to come to me in any way through a business or me providing value or service to anyone. So what would have to happen is a lot of new weird things would have to come into my world to make me grow, to find new businesses, to grow my businesses and expand the business, or find a new business or create something new. And I would get all kinds of ideas for this and have even be attracting it the entire time because my frequency that I would be on. Because I would be accepting all of these things as they're happening, staying in this high frequency, knowing that it's getting me there. Okay, so that's the difference. Like if you're creating something, visualize something falling asleep and it's already within, this sphere of your current concept of self, then there's not going to be a lot of things that are going to come that are going to try to throw you off your path and create more discipline, all these different things. It's going to come through an avenue of a business or whatever you're doing currently as a career. It's probably just going to come to you, or it's something you've been trying to sell for a long time, and all of a sudden.
So in the Law of One Tarot, what he's talking about is resonance. And resonance is, I feel like, right here. Resonance is once your experience will begin to give you what you're visualizing. You can feel the feels within the potentiator and the catalyst, the subconscious, the unconscious. The time 4D will begin to bend in a more high frequency way. So creating the platonics, more organized geometry in the spider web instead of like that fly being caught in, broken geometries, let's say. It will begin to create through the platonics more clear, beautiful sacred geometry around the vision that you would like to manifest, which gives that geometry weight. And it matches with your frequency, your resonance, which comes from here. This here, the significator, you make a choice to bend time the way you want it to now. So if you can visualize this significator, the Hierophant is the mind complex, the Hanged Man, very important. Very close to faith is this Hanged Man. But it's funny because the Hanged Man is now in the body complex. Now you're accepting all the high frequency. You're in resonance. You know why? Here's a cross. His legs are a cross. And look at here. Grapes. There's no more yin yang. Look at the subconscious mind, the potentiator, the mind complex. The mind complex. This is the body complex. You have now made the choice to release the duality and be one in emotion and frequency through your organs with your wish, and your wish is fulfilled through light. Light is what bends. Even if there's no space-time, this sun, raw, is what creates the bending of time. And it'll bend with your resonance, with your organs that create the chakras, that create the frequency. And then things start following through. And death to the old emotions. Death to the old emotions.
Then the money will come to you through that. Different things will happen like that. Unless you go to this super high level and your current concept of self just can't sustain that type of wealth or, abundance that you're trying to create. So then these other things happen. Like the subconscious mind then puts these things in front of you that you have to overcome and grow, but it gives you ideas from that. And it increases your level of consciousness. It wakes you up within the simulation to where it levels you up. Like if it was a video game, you're leveling up in the video game to where you can increase and get better armor and do all these different things within the video game, okay? Within the simulation. Now you're a higher level character to where you can create more, do more, and just have a better mind to manifest things in your world. And even my grandfather's testimonial is all based on this. And he studied with Neville Goddard, like in person. He was actually a student of Neville Goddard. And Neville Goddard was also a member at one of my grandfather's clubs in Los Angeles. So my grandfather's testimony was growing the Reno studio, the Arthur Murray Dance Studio, which was at the very bottom of the list, the lowest revenue,
Canadian.
all the way to the top. And there was like 300 Arthur Murray Dance Studios. So he wants to get to the top. And how does he do that? He visualizes the end, that he's in Vegas, Las Vegas, in front of a huge audience, and they're all applauding him. And then he looks to his right in his visual scene in his imagination before he's going to sleep at night, that Arthur Murray himself is walking up to the stage with him and sits right next to him. And there's two mics, one for him and one for Arthur Murray. And he visualizes this thing and he hears the applaud of the audience. And then he falls asleep in this feeling state. And then he does it. He actually creates this. He gets to the top of the list. He is the talk of the convention. He does this as a testimonial in Neville Goddard's book, The Law and the Promise. He actually did this, and he created this to happen. And then he wanted to get the biggest Arthur Murray Dance Studio in the world, and he ended up getting that. It was in Montreal, Canada.
Oh,
he actually did. He ended up doing what he said at the end of the testimonial, what he was going.
Oh, I wonder if this guy's Canadian. We have an Arthur Murray studio here nearby my house too.
To go after next. He actually got that. He achieved that as well. But if you notice during his testimonial when he's talking about it and when he actually did it, was that he was working night and day. He was up, he was campaigning, he was doing this, he was doing that. And everybody was asking him, what the hell are you doing? This is crazy that you're actually doing this. What are you doing?
See, you have to put action into what you want. If you've got goals, you have to write them down, whatever it is you want. Release weight, make money, whatever, but you have to follow through. You have to follow through. That's the key, actually.
Says, I'm just doing the best that I can. And he told me that it was a lot of hard work that he had to do. He was getting all these new ideas, doing these different things, networking, communicating with different people, growing that business to the top, to the highest level. But he was locked in doing it. He understood that everything that was happening for his benefit, to get him to that convention, to get him that number one spot. And you notice that when he says, I'm just doing the best that I can, when people asked him, what the heck are you doing? How are you doing this? I'm just doing the best that I can, because that's the concept of self that he is. He became that version of himself through the impressions that were made from the subconscious. Now his conscious state was dictated by that. So now,
that's kind of cool. I like that. I'm doing the best that I can. I've heard this from someone else. I think it was that guy who does quantum jumping. He passed away. What's his name? I really like him. I hope I can find some videos on him too. He's, what's his name? Burt Goldman. I'm listening to his, that's him right there. I'm listening to his audio right now on quantum jumping, because I do it myself, and I was like, he was good at it. I want to hear him out. But anyways, Burt Goldman talks about, I'm doing better than I did yesterday. And I said that to myself for a while. I would say that to myself as an affirmation. I'm doing better than I was doing yesterday. But I'm not negating it. I wonder, and comment below if you've made it this far, where you think that falls in within these cards. I'm doing better than I did yesterday. I'm doing better than I did the other day. I'm doing the best I can. Is that the Sun card? Or is that the Hierophant? The Mind Complex? I feel like it's definitely within the Significator. Because now we're not looking at time, space. I'm doing the best I can. I'm doing better than I was yesterday. You're not giving time, space any weight with that. Let me know what you think. Where you think. Maybe it's not the Hierophant or the Sun card. What do you think?
He's way up here. His frequency's way up here to where he can actually accomplish that. And that's the secret to manifestation that Neville Goddard taught. But a lot of people kind of misunderstand how that works. It's not saying that it can't be magical, which it absolutely can. But it means that sometimes your concept of self must change in order to get you to that next level. And you may have difficult things because if you ask him, He's going to tell you there were difficult things that happened, a lot of different difficult things. But those things were creating the version of him that he was at the very end. That version of that he became was due to that success, that growth, those difficulties, that all those obstacles that he encountered. But he was just doing the best that he could. So just know, if you make a proper impression and these things start happening, it just means that you have impressed the subconscious mind and you are getting to that level where you need to maybe work on your discipline level, learn to overcome these obstacles, because those obstacles are getting you to the top. And I'm going to put a card on the screen to my grandfather's testimonial, the interview that I had with him when he actually talked about this actual testimonial.
So cool, right? I love this stuff. I love doing this. It makes me so happy. And I feel like this is my service to others. Archetypes, Law of One Tarot. I love you. And I love you guys. Thanks for watching. And I'll probably see you again tomorrow. Bye.